I recently picked up a discontinued Seiko, which has been on my wishlist for over a year, the Seiko Presage Cocktail Time Matcha SRPF 41J1. I snagged it for a really great price and I can't stop wearing it. And it got me thinking about all of the other amazing Seikos from years gone by which you can't buy anymore. Seiko is the gateway to the watch world for many enthusiasts, but some of its most popular and beloved models have been discontinued, much to the disappointment of brand aficionados. Although Seiko does often re-release watches from its back catalogue, they never seem to quite capture the essence and charm of the original releases. As such, many discontinued Seikos are now sought after and command a premium on the secondary market. So here are 7 super sexy Seikos you can't buy anymore. I could have picked the black dial Saab 033, salmon dial Saab 037, or the wacky gold plated Saab 038, but for me, the white dial Saab 035 is the best of the bunch. It has a somewhat sporty case, but with a dial, indices and handset that are more reminiscent of a dress watch, and the end result is one of the best all-round affordable watches Seiko has ever made. If you look up "go anywhere, do anything watch" in the dictionary, the Saab 035 is what you'll find. It has perfect dimensions and looks equally great on a bracelet or a leather strap. You'll probably have to pay around £500 for one in great condition, which isn't cheap, but it's still an affordable icon. The Seiko ANA, or is it ANA, Pilot SBRS 00F was a watch produced in collaboration with All Nippon Airways in 2004 and was only sold on the airline's flights. In fact, it's hard to find much information about this watch at all, but what we do know is that whilst it contains the affordable 7S26 movement, it was also upgraded with better lume and the watch was made more resistant to magnetism. It has what looks like a huge engine turn bezel in the style of hand-heart watches, but the watch is only 40mm in diameter, very manageable for a pilot's watch. There is one bone of contention, and that is the ANA branding and logo sort of spells anal on the dial, but if you can get past that, it's a lovely watch. These don't come up for sale very often, so you have to be quick when they do if you want one, and be prepared to pay a bit of a premium. If you have watched any of my videos before, you will know I'm a huge fan of gaudy, gold-plated, tacky watches, simply because they offer a taste of golden goodness to peasants like me. One of the coolest affordable gold-plated watches is the Seiko 5 SNKK52, sometimes referred to as the Seiko Naut due to its resemblance to a particular Patek Philippe. There is a stainless steel version too, but the gold is the one that does it for me. The bracelet is a bit low quality. It is a Seiko 5 after all. So ideally you don't want to pay more than £100 or £150, but you'll find these going for double that amount. Value is not everything though. The Seiko Alpinist Saab 017 is Japan's answer to the Rolex Explorer, but more than anything it reminds me of the Seagull 1963 in that its individual elements sound like a disaster on paper, but in reality make for a magical combination. The stainless steel case, green dial and gold indices give it a completely unique look, and the dimensions are pretty much perfect. It's a quirky twist on the classic field watch. Seiko currently sells a very similar looking watch to its Prospects line, but it lacks the Alpinist branding and it just doesn't have the X factor that the original watch had. Do be careful though, because I hear that there are some fakes floating around on eBay and the like, so do be careful. The humorously nicknamed Discus Burger is one of the strangest Seikos you are ever likely to see. In fact, most of the moving design collection is downright weird. There are a few different versions, stainless steel and black PVD with solid cases, and 2 more variants with what look like frosted crystals. These watches don't have a special movement. It's a standard 6R15 movement, but it uses revolving discs instead of regular hands. It looks like something your work would release, and not humble old Seiko. Unfortunately, they are also as rare as hen's teeth and command a significant premium on the secondary market. But if you want something that nobody else has, it might be worth tracking one down. The Seiko Age of Discovery series was released to commemorate 500 years since Christopher Columbus came upon the Americas. Not only is the dial on the 6M13 completely fascinating, but the watch itself is a true perpetual calendar which can keep track of leap years up to the year 2499. It also has a really cool dancing hands feature. A lot of people will be put off by the complicated dial, but I think it looks stunning. It's easily one of my favourite ever Seiko watches, but they are getting harder to come by in good working condition. The Seiko Pogue gets its name from American astronaut William Pogue, who wore the watch in space as the pilot of the Skylab 4 mission in November 1973. It was the first, or at least one of the first, automatic chronographs in space. It is undoubtedly a watch of its time, with its funky yellow dial and Pepsi-coloured bezel. Nothing about this watch is normal. The inner rotating bezel is operated by turning the crown, and the day date is set by pushing in the crown. The only problem is, like most vintage watches, it is hard to find one in great condition which hasn't been messed with or isn't a complete Franken watch for a reasonable price. You could expect to pay around £500 for one that isn't beaten to shit, but it may well contain non-original parts. Seiko recently released the Seiko 5 Sports 55th Anniversary Edition, aka the SRP K17K1, which has a similar sort of design and case shape to the Pogue. It conjures the exciting prospect of a limited edition revival of the Pogue in the near future. So there we have it. I tried to include some quirky choices as well as the big hitters, and of course this is not an exhaustive list. There are more amazing Seikos than I could ever hope to include in a single video. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Is there a legendary Seiko I should have included? A legendary Seiko perhaps that you love? That's all I've got time for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.